Wizarding Schools by J.K. Rowling. The number of countries that have their own magical school is minuscule compared to those that do not. This is because the wizarding populations of most countries choose the option of home schooling. Occasionally, too, the magical community in a given country is tiny or far-flung, and correspondence courses have been found a more cost-effective means of educating the young. There are 11 long-established and prestigious wizarding schools worldwide, all of which are registered with the International Confederation of Wizards. Smaller and less regulated institutions have come and gone, are difficult to keep track of, and are rarely registered with the appropriate ministry, in which case I cannot vouch for the standard of education they might offer. Anyone wishing to know whether there is an approved magical school in their region should address an OWL inquiry to the International Confederation of Wizards Educational Office. The precise location of each of the following schools is a closely guarded secret. The schools fear not only Muggle persecution, for it is a sad fact that at various times in their long histories all of these institutions have been buffeted by the effects of wizard wars and of hostile attention from both the foreign and domestic magical communities. It is not only in Britain that the education of magical youth has been subject to ministry interference or pressure. As a general rule, magical schools tend to be situated in landlocked, mountainous areas, although there are notable exceptions, as will be seen. As such regions are difficult for Muggles to access and easier to defend from dark wizards. Mahutokoro. This ancient Japanese school has the smallest student body of the 11 great wizarding schools and takes students from the age of 7, although they do not board until they are 11. While day students, wizarding children are flown back and forth to their homes every day on the backs of a flock of giant storm petrels. The ornate and exquisite palace of Mahutokoro is made of Muton fat jade and stands on the topmost point of the uninhabited, or so Muggles think, volcanic island of Minami Iwojima. Students are presented with enchanted robes when they arrive, which grow in size as they do, and which gradually change colour as the learning of their wearer increases, beginning a faint pink colour and becoming, if top grades are achieved in every magical subject, gold. If the robes turn white, this is an indication that the student has betrayed the Japanese wizard's code and adopted illegal practices, which in Europe we call dark magic, or broken the International Statute of Secrecy. To turn white is a terrible disgrace, which results in instant expulsion from the school and trial at the Japanese Ministry for Magic. Mahutokoro's reputation rests not only on its impressive academic prowess, but also on its outstanding reputation for Quidditch, which, legend has it, was introduced to Japan centuries ago by a band of foolhardy Hogwarts students who were blown off course during an attempt to circumnavigate the globe on wholly inadequate broomsticks. Rescued by a party of wizarding staff from Mahutokoro, who had been observing the movements of the planets, they remained as guests long enough to teach their Japanese counterparts the rudiments of the game, a move they lived to regret. Every member of the Japanese Quidditch team and the current Champions League winners, the Toyohashi Tengu, attributes their prowess to the grueling training they were given at Mahutokoro, where they practice over a sometimes turbulent sea in stormy conditions, forced to keep an eye not only for the bludgers, but also for planes from the Muggle air base on a neighbouring island. Wagadu. Although Africa has a number of small wizarding schools, for advice on locating these, see introductory paragraph. There is only one that has stood the test of time, at least 1,000 years, and achieved an enviable international reputation, Wagadu. The largest of all wizarding schools, it welcomes students from all over the enormous continent. The only address ever given is Mountains of the Moon. Visitors speak of a stunning edifice carved out of the mountainside and shrouded in mist, so that it sometimes appears simply to float in mid-air. Much, some would say all, magic originated in Africa, and Wagadu graduates are especially well versed in astronomy, alchemy, and self-transfiguration. The wand is a European invention, and while African witches and wizards have adopted it as a useful tool in the last century, many spells are cast simply by pointing the finger or through hand gestures. This gives Wagadu students a sturdy line of defence when accused of breaking the International Statute of Secrecy. "I was only waving, I never meant his chin to fall off." At a recent international symposium of animagi, the Wagadu school team attracted a lot of press when their exhibition of synchronized transforming caused a near riot. Many older and more experienced witches and wizards felt threatened by 14-year-olds who could turn at will into elephants and cheetahs, and a formal complaint was lodged with the International Confederation of Wizards by Adrian Tutley, Animagus Gerbil. The long list of celebrated ex-students produced by Wagadu includes Babajide Akingbade, who succeeded Albus Dumbledore as the supreme mugwump of the International Confederation of Wizards. Students receive notice that they have gained entrance at Wagadu from dream messengers sent by the headmaster or headmistress of the day. The dream messenger will appear to the children as they sleep and will leave a token, usually an inscribed stone, which is found in the child's hand on waking. No other school employs this method of pupil selection. Castelo Bruxo. The Brazilian School for Magic, which takes students from all over South America, may be found hidden deep within the rainforest. The fabulous castle appears to be a ruin to the few Muggle eyes that have ever fallen upon it, a trick shared by Hogwarts. Opinion is divided on who got the idea from whom. Castelo Bruxo is an imposing square edifice of golden rock, often compared to a temple. Both building and grounds are protected by the Capora, small and furry spirit beings who are extraordinarily mischievous and tricky, and who emerge under cover of night to watch over the students and the creatures who live in the forest. Former Castelo Bruxo headmistress Benedita Dorado was once heard to laugh heartily on an exchange visit to Hogwarts, when headmaster Armando Dippet complained of Peeves the poltergeist. Her offer to send him some capora for the Forbidden Forest to show you what trouble really is was not accepted. Castelo Bruxo students wear bright green robes and are especially advanced in both herbology and magizoology. The school offers very popular exchange programs for European students who wish to study the magical flora and fauna of South America. It was one of these trips that Bill Weasley's parents could not afford, causing his disappointed pen friend at Castelo Bruxo to send him something nasty in the post. Castelo Bruxo has produced a number of famous ex-students, including one of the world's most famous potioneers, Libatius Borage, author of, among other works, Advanced Potion Making, Asiatic Anti-Venoms, and Have Yourself a Fiesta in a Bottle, and João Coelho, captain of the world-renowned Quidditch team, the Taraboto Tree Skimmers. Beauxbaton's Academy of Magic. Thought to be situated somewhere in the Pyrenees, visitors speak of the breathtaking beauty of a chateau surrounded by formal gardens and lawns created out of the mountainous landscape by magic. Beauxbaton's Academy has a preponderance of French students, though Spanish, Portuguese, Dutch, Luxembourgians and Belgians also attend in large numbers. Both Beauxbatons and Durmstrang have a larger studentship than Hogwarts. It is said that the stunning castle and grounds of this prestigious school were part funded by alchemist gold, for Nicholas and Perenelle Flamel met at Beauxbatons in their youth, and a magnificent fountain in the middle of the school's park, believed to have healing and beautifying properties, is named for them. Beauxbatons has always enjoyed a cordial relationship with Hogwarts, though there has been a healthy rivalry in international competitions such as the Triwizard Tournament, in which Beauxbatons has 62 wins to Hogwarts' 63. Apart from the Flamels, famous ex-students of Beauxbatons include Vincent Duc de Treffelpique, who escaped the terror by casting a concealment charm on his neck and pretending that his head had already been cut off; Luc Millefieux, the infamous pastry maker and muggle poisoner; and Fleur Delacour, who fought in the world-famous Battle of Hogwarts and was awarded medals of bravery from both the French and British Ministries of Magic. Headmistress Olympe Maxime is, in spite of her protestations to the contrary, half giantess, brilliant, elegant, and undeniably awe-inspiring. Durmstrang Institute. Durmstrang once had the darkest reputation of all 11 wizarding schools, though this was never entirely merited. It is true that Durmstrang, which has turned out many truly great witches and wizards, has twice in its history fallen under the stewardship of wizards of dubious allegiance or nefarious intent, and that it has one infamous ex-pupil. The first of these unhappy men, Harfang Munter, took over the school shortly after the mysterious death of its founder, the great Bulgarian witch Nerida Volchanova. Munter established Durmstrang's reputation for duelling and all forms of martial magic, which remain an impressive part of its curriculum today. The second dark period in Durmstrang's history came with the headmastership of Igor Karkaroff, an ex-Death Eater who fled his post upon the return from exile of Lord Voldemort, fearing the latter's retribution. Karkaroff was an unprincipled and egotistical man who encouraged a culture of fear and intimidation among the students, and many parents withdrew their children from Durmstrang while he was in charge. The ex-pupil who has done more than any other to cause damage to Durmstrang's reputation is Gellert Grindelwald, one of the most dangerous wizards of the 20th century. However, in recent years, Durmstrang has undergone something of a renaissance and has produced such international luminaries as international Quidditch star Victor Krum. Although believed to be situated in the far north of Europe, Durmstrang is one of the most secretive of all schools about its whereabouts, so nobody can be quite certain. Visitors, who must comply with memory charms to erase their knowledge of how they got there, speak of vast, sprawling grounds with many stunning views, not least of the great, dark, spectral ship that is moored on a mountain lake behind the school, from which students dive in summertime.